Okay, so this is going to be like wrapping up the video that we started last time. I think we finished this part, so now I'm just going to wrap up question number 4. So the main thing you want to see here when you're doing this one is this is at the bottom. So we have this 2x minus 3. Since it's at the bottom, it's going to be the same thing as equals to negative 5. So this just becomes x minus 3 equals negative 5. So our answer becomes x equals negative 2. So the first part kind of is simple, but it gets trickier when we get to the next part. This one looks weird. There's a 64 here. So what we're going to want to do here is we want to change the 64 to become a 4. So that's going to be 4 to some power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this by 4 using my handy little calculator over here. Oh, actually, to make this easier for you guys, I'm going to use the Google calculator. So I'm going to do 64 divided by 4. I get to 16. I'm going to write that down. I got 64, and after I divide it by 4, I get this 16. You can keep track of it however you'd like. I'm going to divide this 16 by 4, and this is going to get me 4. So that means that 4 times 4 times 4 would be 64 because it's the opposite of division. So in other words, 64 is the same thing as 4 to the third power. So if I want to do this, I am going to, where did I leave it? There it is. So in other words, this is 4 to the x plus 1 equals 4 to the third parentheses x minus 5. So what's going to happen here, since we have an exponent to an exponent, I'm going to have to multiply these two together. So I'm going to get this 4x plus 1 equals 4 3x minus 15 because I'm distributing. So now that these two are the same, I can just ignore the 4 since they have the same what's called a base. And it becomes x plus 1 equals 3x minus 15. I'm going to take away an x, and I get 1 equals 2x minus 15. I'm going to add this 15 to both sides, and I'm going to get 2x equals 16. Divide this by 2, divide this by 2, we get x equals 8. And that ends up being my answer. Now, for a really tricky one, let's look what happens in the next problem. So if I'm looking here, it's like, wait, now I have a 3, but it's at the bottom. Well, I already know that 3 at the bottom is 3 to the negative 1. The only tricky part is, like, now I have all this going on. So what I do is I just pretend that it's in a parentheses. And in turn, I'm going to have to distribute this parentheses. As far as this goes, I want to change the base to a 3. So I'm going to keep dividing by 3 until I get 3 at the end. So clear this out. 81 divided by 3. So far I have one of these 3's. And then I'm going to divide it by 3 again. By 3 again. Get a 9. Going to divide it by 3 again. And one thing that's important that I don't think I mentioned in the other one is this last 3 counts. So in other words, I have 3 times 3 times 3. So just to test that out, what I can do is kind of do it backwards. Let's see if I do 3 to the third power, just in case I forgot to include that last 3. That would only be 27. But if I do 3 to the fourth power, oops, that's not to the fourth power. This is to the fourth power. That's 81. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say this is the same thing as I don't know what was going on with my mouse there. This is the same thing as 3 to the fourth. And then in my parentheses, I have this x plus 4. So I'm going to have to distribute this 4. So what happens here is I get 3 to the negative 5x plus 2, because I'm distributing that, is equal to 3 to the 4x plus 4. From here, all I'm going to do is ignore those 3's because they have the same base. And this simply becomes this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add this 5x. Oh, I forgot. I'm distributing that 4. I'm so sorry, guys. That's 16. This is 16. Something wasn't adding up there. Or I guess multiplying up there. So I'm going to add that 5x, add that 5x. I get 2 equals 9x plus 16. Subtract my 16. Subtract my 16. I get negative 14 equals 9x. So my answer after I divide this 9 is x equals negative 14 divided by 9. And that's all we do for this last problem. That's our answer. Feel free to write it down on a piece of paper, take a picture, and upload it. Other than that, do your self-evaluation. Let's see what's next. After this, I believe it's just a bunch of practice problems as before. Again, if you guys need help doing these practice problems, feel free to make an appointment with me. This is going to be very similar to the application. All right.